Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It is customary for Karachi Council on Foreign Relations to invite one of the Consul General at their Board of Governors meeting. We are holding our meeting today after this get-together, and we have invited Honorable Mr. Kim Haksung for this meeting. Thank you all for coming. Honorable Mr. Kim Haksung, Consul General of Republic of Korea, distinguished guests, Chairman, Members, Board of Governors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to KCFR's Board of Governors meeting today. Mr. Kim Haksung is a graduate from Jeonnam Korea University. He did his post-graduation from Frankfurt in Germany. He started his career, he's a career diplomat, and started his diplomatic career from Germany. He was Second Secretary, Consul, and then Consul General over there. Then he served in Kuwait, Oman, and it is his fourth diplomatic appointment in Pakistan. I usually carry out an introduction of KCFR on these occasions, but all members over here are well introduced, so I may not go through the ritual. And our chief guest today, again, I have met him a number of times, and he knows us very well, Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. He knows the chairman, he knows our co-chairman, and all the board of governors members also. Therefore, I'll skip that portion. And but before I request him to come over and talk about his country, I may inform you that Karachi Council on Foreign Relations is a delegation from Karachi Council on Foreign Relations will participate in World Economic Forum at Davos, and we are thankful to our chairman and his company, Pathfinder Group and Martin Dow Group, who are holding four functions, lunch, dinners, and breakfast, with the name of Karachi Council. They are holding many more functions, but four of these functions will be held with the name of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. In addition, an MOU will be signed between Karachi Council on Foreign Relations and Swiss Asia Chamber of Commerce during this period. Without any further ado, may I request you, sir, to come and talk about your country.
Good morning, everyone. I am feeling a little nervous because I am here in front of so many distinguished Pakistani guests, and especially here in this museum. I've already 2 times visited with my wife on here residence villa of your very respected national founder, Jinnah. And so today I'm feeling very honorable in this wonderful, historical villa. We are talking about our country. It is very, for me, it is really great pleasure and really honorable. So thank you for your invitation. Thank you for your great attention and interest. So on this occasion, I just want to talk about our country briefly, and after that, I just want to mention the mutual cooperation between 2 countries and the relationship between Pakistan and our country. So it is for me a great opportunity to enhance relationship between so our distinguished guest and me and our diplomatic mission in Karachi. And as he mentioned, so I have mostly my diplomatic career in Germany. So in Germany, I have 17 years, 6 months. I have my diplomatic career. And 5 times I've worked in Germany, my embassy, my Consul General. And so I can say between Seoul, my headquarters, and Germany, like a shuttle bus. And so 5 times I have served my diplomatic career, and additionally, I have in Germany at the German University. I have studied in Germany, Germany, and so I can say Germany is my really. I have told many times my staff members here, Mr. Saud, so Germany is like my home country. And so I was transferred directly from Germany to here, so Karachi as a Consul General. And then after the time is flying very fast. Already 21 months here in Karachi. 1 year, 9 months. Really, time is like arrow, is passing very, very fast. And it means, I can say, Karachi is my city, really wonderful city. I'm very satisfied. My wife is now in Seoul for 1 month. Before departure to Seoul, on the way to airport, my wife has told me, after departure in the future in Karachi, we are really missing this wonderful city. And so yes, so then really I can miss this wonderful city after my departure in the future. The Germany or in our country or here Pakistan, Karachi is totally different situation, different phase. But I'm very happy because here climate zone, a subtropical climate zone, so wonderful, these colorful trees and subtropical trees. So I'm really very happy. So here. Mr. Faruqi is here. I have told him, so Mr. Faruqi is officially recognized florist, but I'm not officially recognized florist. But like Mr. Faruqi, I'm really interested in trees, flowers. But here, really in Pakistan, Karachi is a wonderful city. And so with over 24 million population. So Pakistan is really very vibrant and very energetic city and so wonderful. And so I'm really very satisfied. So on this occasion, I just want to say about our country and the relationship between our two countries. As you know, Korea is divided country. Germany is unified, but our country, unfortunately, not until now, still divided. So between North and South Korea, along the demilitarized zone, both sides, really, our front line is heavily armed, heavily fortified. On the North Korean side, 2 kilometers, South Korean side, 2 kilometers, 4 kilometer wide, the demilitarized zone is really, I have served my military service also at the border. It's really very difficult situation. And so now on Korean Peninsula, because of that, crisis management is of great importance to our country. And so North Korea has until now, after Korean War, until now, so many times the military provocation. And so on Korean Peninsula is peace processing, and at the same time, crisis management is really of great importance. Now, North Korea is now a really big problem. Now this North Korea is, yesterday I have just heard the news from our headquarters from Seoul. Now North Korea is COVID, corona infection cases now until 300,000 cases. North Korean medical service, medical standard is very low. And so North Korean people are not vaccinated. And so North Korean situation is really very emergent situation. And so our South Korea, our government has provided already, provided the medical, proposed medical assistance to North Korea, but North Korea has not, did not react to our proposal. I don't know exactly, but our government is now changing, the new government. So last month, until last month, the progressive government, but new government is a little conservative. But anyway, our new government will have decided to assist North Korea in now it's a very endangered situation, North Korea. So North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has already officially declared North Korea is now in a state of emergency because of this pandemic. So I don't know. I'm not sure that North Korea can bring this emergent situation under control. So I'm not sure because North Korea medical service totally has collapsed. So it is not so easy situation. And on the Korean Peninsula, North Korea has in recent months so many times launched ballistic missiles, this so-called military provocation. So North Korea has already, it is not officially confirmed, but North Korea has already developed nuclear bombs, and they now developing these carriers, missiles, ICBM missile launch already successful, and USA and Japan is really so very concerned about this situation. And the submarine launched missile, all they are trying to develop, and so it is really really our government, our government is really the great cause of headache because North Korea continuously provoked this acted military provocation, and so it is not so easy. And Korean Peninsula, so because of that, I can say this on Korean Peninsula, if war breaks out, it is catastrophe. It is no more South Korea, no more. And so we must avoid war on Korean Peninsula. It is most important thing for our government, for our Korean people. And so because of that, once again, I just want to say this crisis management on Korean Peninsula is of utmost importance. Okay, then so I just want to mention our Korean economy. And so after Korean War, at the end of Japanese colony, and after 3 years of Korean War, Korea was totally devastated by the 3 years Korean War. Nothing. And so at the time, Korea is a total agricultural country, no industrial facilities, but small industrial facilities were totally devastated, destroyed by 3 years Korean War. We have nothing. At the time, after Korean War, after 1953 was the end of 50s, 60s, beginning of 60s. South Korea is one of the poorest country in the world. GDP per capita at the time $140, one of the poorest countries in the world. Now, as of 2021, so our Korean GDP per capita is 35,000 US dollar. Our Korea is worldwide number 10th biggest economic power and number 8 export country. And so we are, all our South Korean people, we are proud of our achievement. So we are achievement. But our Korea is, we have also, we are military dictatorship. As I was a university student, in my campus, every day demonstration against anti-government demonstration. There was a very heavy anti-government demonstration every day. So this tear gas canister has. We cannot study really. And so at the time, as I was a university student, at the time, the pro-democracy movement is in Korea very, very at peak, at peak. And with our engagement, with our blood, we have reached democracy. After that, Korean democracy is now very, very, very strong. We are not baby democracy. We are not young democracy. We are adult democracy. Our democracy is very strong. We have two pillars. One pillar is political stability with very strong democracy, and other pillar, economic growth, economic strength. So we really, our South Korea is tremendous achievement in the past 50, 60 years. With the generation of my parents and my generation, really, we are this really pioneer, and we are really in this in the development of our country. We are leader, the normal citizen. We are leader, not this top leader. We normal people, normal citizen. We are really leader for our development. We are very proud of that. And now Korea is economic stability, political stability, strong democracy, and a very strong economy. Additionally, Korea is now this cultural power. With the Korean wave, K-pop, K-culture, Korea is now our national founder. He has emphasized our country must be in the cultural power in the future, not military power. Our country must be cultural power. Our national founder, like your national founder, our national founder, many times emphasized people. Our future must be cultural power. So our in Korea, this Korean cultural power is really very vibrant, very energetic, and worldwide very respected. So we are also proud of this achievement. Regarding South North Korean's crisis, North Korean tensions, I just want to additionally mention. In Korea now, after Korean War, so many people saw this divided. Or so many people saw these North Korean relatives, North Korea, they are living now. And mostly they are dead. They are not alive. And so this reunification of separated family members is very urgent matter. But it is we have no success. Our government has tried many times to reunite separate the family members, but so they are really living in pain. And also outside, so many elder generation, their family members are living in North Korea, and so it is really very urgent humanitarian cases, but it is not settled. So it is very tragic. These elderly people already dead, not no more alive. Our South Korean government is trying to reunite the separated family members, but North Korean government is not so supportive. And so until now, unfortunately, we have no success. And it is very humanitarian on these cases. As you know, Korea is, I have already mentioned, but as you know, Korea is technically and so industrially, technically highly advanced country. So then I think we have a great potential of mutual cooperation between your country and our country. And so in Korea, in Daejeon, in the center of, in the heart of Korea, Daejeon city, so worldwide very famous prestigious university, KAIST, Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, worldwide ranking 20s. These wonderful, these prestigious, high the academic reputation in this science and technology university. Pakistani young scientists are now studying as master degree and a PhD degree. And these your young scientists, after study in this prestigious university, they can contribute to development your country, I'm sure. It is very encouraging, very positive signal. Our country, like in your country, we have no natural resources. Pakistan is very rich in natural resources, but our country, no crude oil, we are really so poor in natural resources. But we have only manpower, very highly educated manpower. It is our great strength of our country. And so during the Korean War, during the 3 years Korean War, every children on the makeshift tent, they were educated. With every primary school student, middle school student, they were educated on the makeshift tent during the 3-year Korean War. So-called Korean parents, it is so-called education fever. So this in Korea, the Korean people is education is the most important factor for the development of our country. And so Korea is a very highly educated society, and medical service also very high standard. Medical service is very high. And so in Korea, so many prestigious universities. And so I hope you are a young student, young scientist, can attend our best course of our universities. I just want to mention the relationship between two countries. In Korea, about I think 1,500 Pakistani students are now studying, as you mentioned, at the prestigious universities, master course and the PhD course. And in Korea, also your Pakistani workers was according to employment permit system, your Pakistani people are working in manufacturing and in agricultural sectors. But unfortunately, trade volume between your country and my country is not so big. Very small, tiny portion. According to my statistics, our export to Pakistan 0.2%, very tiny proportion, and from your country import from your country 0.05%. So very tiny portion. But thanks to your great contribution and engagement of Pakistani businessmen, we have a good potential for the enhancing the bilateral trade and the business activities. As you know, so our Korean companies here in Pakistan, especially in Karachi, very successful. And as you know, your Lucky Kia Motors now are assembling our Korean Kia car models and Samsung smart mobile phones in form of joint venture. It's a very successful case. And also here, so many Korean companies through direct investment, they are very active here in Karachi. For example, Lotte Chemicals, Lotte Coalzone, other Korean companies are very active here in Karachi. But now, because of the pandemic situation, until now, the coronavirus has complicated many matters. And so, in the meantime, this coronavirus, because of coronavirus, business activities can be negatively affected by. But so for your Pakistani businessmen, you have difficulties. Also, same situation. Our Korean businessmen, who are was interested in Pakistani market, also they were really negatively affected by corona cases. But in the meantime, here in Pakistan, corona situation is really very stable. Our country also, we have also corona situation under control. Nearly all restrictions were lifted in regarding corona pandemic. I think it is a really encouraging and very positive signal. We are now receiving so many growing visa applications from Pakistani businessmen. Now our mission in Karachi, and so it is really very positive signal for reopening of the business activities between two countries. I'm anticipating many Pakistani people are flying to Korea to contact our Korean partners, business partners, and it can be really contribute to the vibrant business activities in Karachi. And so really, it is very positive and very encouraging signal. I'm very happy. So every day we are receiving so many visa applications from your Pakistani people. And so very nice. Okay, so what I mentioned is I have mentioned not so details about our Korean Peninsula and Korean democracy, economy, and Korean culture, and relationship between two countries. And so then it's because of time pressure. Time limit. So I just want to come to a conclusion. And thank you for your great attention. And once again, thank you for your invitation. Thank you for your presence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim Haksung. And apart from, we can now ask few questions from him. And apart from within his speech, we can also ask few questions. We envy the progress made by Republic of Korea in these years. People of my vintage would recall 50s when pumps and motors used to be exported from Mr. C.M. Latif and Ittifaq Foundries to Korea in 50s. And I may mention here that he has mentioned about his resources. There, one of the big resources, 9,500 megawatt from their tidal energy. We also have as much cost as much about South Korea. So the house is open if you would like to ask any questions, sir. Mr. Moin Fuda, he's our member board of the governors.
Jeju Island is one of the fantastic places to visit. And I think you need to promote that in a way that it is a mini Hawaii. You need to go to Hawaii for so many hours, but if you can go to Seoul and take a flight, an hour and a half flight to Jeju Island, it's a fantastic place. Maybe people will line up for a visa, but that's something which you need to take care of.
Okay, and so in our mission, we can issue also tourist visa for the normal Pakistani people. And you can fly to our country and you can take a tour, no problem. As you mentioned, Jeju Island. Jeju is a wonderful, it's a fantastic island with wonderful scenery and unique culture. And I have 2 times, not so many times, only 2 times I have been there. But really, Jeju Island. Jeju Island, the fish food is wonderful. So taste was culture. This maybe here, so maybe you can not all, but you have some my gift. So on the occasion of national holiday reception. Now last year with this, because of pandemic, we could not hold our national holiday reception in a hotel. But instead of that, I have sent some gift and my letter, and so. In Jeju Island, on hillside of Jeju, the national park on Halla Mountain hillside, so very famous green tea plantation. This green tea plantation, the green tea in Jeju Halla Mountain is very high quality, very good. I have last year I've sent so-called green tea on this. So okay, thank you for your mention, and okay, welcome to our country, to Jeju Island, to every corner in Korea. Every corner in Korea, very beautiful. We are warm-hearted. We are very kind. So we are welcoming Pakistani people to our country.
We are also looking at something like this that possibly could happen in occupied Kashmir and Azad Kashmir and such. The third thing that is there is about basically your education, and you say that there is very good standard of education, but I haven't seen any such ad or newspaper ad where one would be advertising educational institutions of South Korea. Another question is about North Korea, its missiles and MRV. This is multiple re-entry vehicles which they have developed, and they have actually used that or demonstrated that capability. How does South Korea intend to see that? Obviously, you're trying to avoid war at all costs. And maybe this is my last question is, are you going to be buying any of the American weapons? Because apparently you were looking at F-35 to be purchased for the South Korean Air Force.
I cannot understand exactly what I have, unfortunately, I have a poor memory. So it's okay. And, so your first question is IMF loan?
Yes, it's an international agency which could be International Bank, IMF, or any other. International
monetary funds which are available anyway.
So I don't know exactly what you mean, but as Korea is, we have 1997, we have some, we had in a financial crisis in Korea. And at that time, other countries also. That we have, at the time, we have received also IMF loan. So after 3 years, we have all these paid, and we are so no more. So now we have nothing to with IMF loan, and so Korea is now Korea. This foreign currency reserve is very so high, and we have nothing to do with IMF loan now. Actually. And the second question is. demilitarization. So this demilitarized zone, now demilitarized zone is our symbol of our Korean division. And so then, but we have a very positive aspect also in regarding demilitarized zone. The 4 kilometers wide demilitarized zone. It is a paradise of wildlife. Wildlife is really so the worldwide. This area is recognized as a heaven of wildlife. And so our environmentalists, really our government also, we are really making effort to preserve this area as a peace area, not also. Conflict area for this environment, for nature, for wildlife, and so I think so this our government we don't intervene in the cultural activities. It is most important thing, and so the cultural expression, cultural activities is it is in our guaranteed in our constitution. Our government will provide some financial support for these artists, but we don't intervene in the cultural activities, cultural decision making. It is most important principle in our country. We support financially this, but we don't interfere. According to this policy, our Korean culture is very thriving. It's very worldwide. It's now enjoyed reputation.
This is a fighter aircraft, which is the most modern aircraft of the American industry now. Are there South Koreans intending to buy any of these?
Yeah, now in Korea, the self-defense industry is very strong. And so we are exporting so many defense weapons to other countries. Now Korea we have developed very modern, high supersonic these fighter jet F-21. Now we are in the testing phase, but maybe in 2-3 years we can put the modern aircraft in the field. Our defense industry is really very strong.
Lot of points like economy, culture, and all these things which are very important in the development of a nation. And I think that we can learn a lot from your country. Let's see how we can sort of organize it so that we can see, and learn from how you have achieved all these issues. My first experience with Korea was when I was there in one of the projects I was handling, and in Seoul. I was told that there is an expo going on, but it was, I think, long distance from Seoul. I forgot the name of the city where it was held. I wanted to go there, but I had a bypass operation a few months earlier, so I thought that I cannot really fly that long. So I was told, no, you can go by train. I laughed, I said, train will be even more they said that no, you travel by train, and when you're drinking your tea, if tea cup really tilts even a little, then we will pay you a big fine. And that was the case. So I was really so impressed. Maybe with your help, we can have these kind of trains. South Korean is a difficult language for us, for me. So the only word which I learned was, I hope it is still correct in my mind, Khamsa Hamida.
Okay, we have a very unique culture. We have a long history. We have a long tradition. Korea is we have so many UNESCO World Heritage in Korea, and especially E Dynasty. About 500 long history of E Dynasty. So we have we are proud of our cultural power, cultural heritage, and we have our own language, Korean language. Korean language is very systematic and very scientific, very good. Also now Korean language worldwide, thanks to this K-wave, Korean wave, so many foreigners are learning our language. And it's very positive situation with this. For me, so I cannot speak the Urdu language. Urdu language is very difficult, but I can manage. I can manage to live here in Karachi with my poor English skills.
I am Vice Chairman of KCFR. I have a very mundane question. Hyundai automobile plant was supposed to be established at Port Qasim, Karachi. And I think Hyundai people had already was in the process of acquiring land. Suddenly we came to know it has been shifted to Faisalabad. What are the reasons for shifting the plant from Port Qasim, Karachi to Faisalabad?
It is not so easy to give answer in this case, and it is the decision of our Korean companies, and so now I'm sorry to give an answer in this case. But now, regarding this case, our Korean companies really market oriented. Our Korean companies are market oriented, so they are searching also this here Pakistani market situation. But so unfortunately, so for our Korean companies, the market in Pakistan is not so big size, small. So that they are considering here it's some problem. And so I can say, frankly speaking, here in Pakistan, so many investment barriers for our Korean companies. But the political instability or this infrastructure and electricity power supply problem was the expectancy was taxation, and also we have discussed with Korean businessmen in Pakistan, and they are talking about these problems. And so for enhancing direct investment, so it is very important to your Pakistani authorities. Most these there's some taking consideration of this situation. There's some problems.
My name is Karim Farouqi, Your Excellency. Talking about the economic cooperation between Korea and Pakistan, I know that Korea has been extending public sector loans to Pakistan. Unfortunately, in 2015, you extended 500 million. But I was recently reading that you are going to pledge $1 billion to Pakistan. Under what you call the EDCF fund, Economic Development Cooperation Fund. Any particular sectors that Korea is interested into Pakistan? Because I'm looking into the possibilities of getting the government and the private sector to move in using that loan that being offered.
So Mr. Farouq has mentioned, so it is very meaningful, and for me, so really is very good news. Then here in our Sindh province. I have already, so end of March, I have visited this your third biggest city. The name of city is very difficult to pronounce. Saka. And so in Saka now, so your children's hospital now under construction by our Korean construction companies. These funded by our Korean EDCF soft loan project. It is very impressive. And so many residents in Saka, they are expecting this service of children's hospital after completion of this project. So maybe this EDCF project can be completed by the end of this year. And next year, our Samsung will provide medical facilities and medical facilities and equipment. Maybe that this hospital can be operated in the middle of next month after 3-4 months probation period. And it's very encouraging news. And here in Pakistan, already IT park in Islamabad completed by our EDCF project, and here in Karachi, in the near airport, so in the beginning phase now, but already Karachi IT park will be funded by our soft loan in EDCF, and it is as a Consul General, it is very nice news. I'm very happy. And and the other, Mr. Paruk.
We want to see which projects you are interested in. Agriculture is one which your ambassador spoke about a while ago. You're pledging $1 billion to Pakistan.
Mr. Paruk, in this other case, I have met this mayor of Karachi, administrator. He has asked me, and so here in Karachi, you have water shortage, really big problem, and it is a very urgent problem must be to be solved. And so they are considering now the desalination facilities. Now, because of this industry level, so water level is very low, and the drought is always a permanent phenomenon in this Karachi, and so they are now considering the desalination facility. In this regard, our Korean company, Doosan company, is very strong. They are so experienced in Middle East countries, in Saudi Arabia, Oman, and UAE. These Doosan companies have constructed so many desalination facilities to serve water shortages. Maybe here in Pakistan, Karachi's city government, if city government will decide for desalination facilities. In this case, our Korean company, big project, industrial project, I think.
Excellency, I've not been able to understand the North Korea. It's a very poor country. It keeps developing missiles and nuclear technology. It keeps firing missiles towards Japan. Is it pro-America or is it pro-China and pro-Russia? Number two, South Korea is the fourth biggest economy in Asia and 10th in the world, but your manpower is under a lot of stress. They are working about 18 hours, and there are a lot of reported deaths in South Korea, and there is a discrimination against women. Your comments, Excellency.
And so, as you know, as you mentioned, so North Korea is one of the poorest countries in the world, and a totally isolated country, not abnormal society. But North Korea is the dictatorship, 3-generation dictatorship, from founder to father to son. It's a 3-generation dictatorship. The North Korean society is totally isolated. They economically already collapsed. So now in North Korean people, about 35 South North Korean people have defected to South Korea. Now we have accommodated about these North Korean refugees, and we have provided housing and money and job opportunities, education. They can resettle in our country. And North Korea is really economically collapsed. In this situation, North Korea has developed nuclear bomb and so the missiles. While in conventional weapons, North Korea is no more our rival. North Korean economy is totally very, very small, very collapsed. So North Korean cannot, they have no money for conventional weapons. Instead of armament with our South Korea, no more North Korea is a rival. And so because of that, North Korea nuclear armament, nuclear weapon is the really most effective weapon of poor countries. Poor countries, they have no money for no more conventional weapons, so they have developed the nuclear weapons, and at the same time, to use this nuclear bomb, they must develop these carrier missiles. So that this the North Korean military provocation, nuclear provocation, is really big threat to Japan, to USA, but including our country. But really, North Korea, in this case, they have no money. So no normal people living condition is really so miserable. But they to survive, if North Korean regime, so they developed these nuclear weapons. And the second question, okay, Korea is, as I already mentioned, highly educated people. But our Korean young generation, young people now under pressure, really, they are working very hard in the office, in the working place, and they have many stress. I can say Korea is a highly competitive society. And it is some problem. Now the young generation, and so they have no family. They are enjoying single life. They are not married. They have no children. And so because of a highly competitive society, and so it is some problem. Birth rate is very low, and so suicide rate also very high. And not high. It is a negative side of our Korea. Our government is now trying to reduce this negative situation. And so, as we mentioned, in every case, in every country, there is positive side, at the same time negative side. Our Korea is not perfect. We have many problems also, and so we have this negative side. We know, we recognize this our weakness, our problems, but we government, all citizens, we are so making effort to change it, to
Excellency, Consul General, we are thankful that you came here and bathing all of us. I would like to know your projects, your investment. You mentioned about your renewable energy, particularly wave energy, and also in here it is mentioned about the project that you are investing in Karachi. So you might know the issues of Karachi. For example, there is a lot of mass transport. Karachi needed mass transport system. Are you investing in mass transport system? Are interested in investing in mass transport system in Karachi, and also establishing wave energy system for Karachi? And again, as it is mentioned that you are a high-tech country, so you are interested in collaborating with technical education vocational system in Pakistan. As our honorable Air Marshal Riazudin Sheikh Saab mentioned about the education system, your education system. So are you interested in collaborating with Pakistani education system? Is there any project for in EDCF for collaborating in education, technical education, vocational training, as I mentioned, renewable energy or mass transport system? Thank you.
In Korea, Korean the young student at the university, and during university life, campus life, they are most of 99% of Korean students, they are spending 1 year in foreign countries, and so-called through this study exchange program. But most young Korean students, they just want to have this program not in developing countries, but in developed countries such as USA, mostly European countries, China, and Germany, France, Italy. And so our Korean young students, they have no interest in exchange program in developing countries like Pakistan. But I and my ambassador in Islamabad, we are in the same opinion. Is here in frankly speaking, our Korean the young student, they can speak English relatively not so bad, but compared to your people, your student, not so good. And so I think here in Pakistan, good education system, it is strength of your university, your student. Can provide very high-skilled language skills, and so I think here Pakistan also good destination for exchange program for our Korean young students. And so we are now really considering the exchange program between our young students, also to Pakistan students. It is very, very nice. It is very positive side. If our Korean young student can live here in Pakistan 1 year through this exchange program, it is really a great contribution to mutual understanding of the young generations. We are endeavoring these measures.
Thank you, sir. May I now request the chairman for his concluding remarks.
Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, let me first thank you for having elaborated so openly about Korea, South Korea, and I'm sure people are here much more knowledgeable. And it's also refreshing to see a career diplomat posted in Karachi to know so much about the local country and correlate it with their own country. Our problem is, and Excellency, you probably know that in 1960s and we were so far ahead of South Korea that South Korea came and borrowed from our 5-year plan, right? And today, of course, you are a role model of what we should have been today also. We unfortunately failed because we went after our industrialists, etc. And you actually supported those industrialists to bring big trading companies and big corporations. And that actually raised the economy of Korea and what you are today. You're right, every country has got good points, bad points, but there is no doubt that South Korea is a role model for other countries. It is in fact something that should be an accepted fact. And both in terms of not only, let us say, the economy, but also the political discourse. You've seen the political discourse very open, very knowledgeable, and we've seen the change of government. The transition after the military rule that was there, the transition has been very smooth. I will say this to you only, you've seen this thing, etc. We need to carry this dialogue on further. We need to deepen this dialogue, and we would at KCFR would be very interested in having you over again, to again have the discourse with you and to maintain a relationship with you which is ongoing and must be maintained. I can only say to you that thank you very much for being here, and I'm sure everybody here will give you a big hand in saying what a wonderful session it was. Well done. I have a personal gift with you, my books, which I would like to present to you. If you would kindly accept it on my behalf.